Alright, for today's RJ, let me read to you the questions first of the RJ. The first question is, how would you rate your performance as a coach today with reference to game 1 in Q&A after receiving the feedback from your peers? So I'll be answering that question first. Um, After receiving the feedback from my peers, I felt that overall I did a good job. However, there is always room for improvement. So I would want to go through some of the feedback that I received, and after internalizing the feedback itself, how I feel. So for the first feedback for my game 1 itself, it was the tactical problem. It was different from what they thought it was, because based on my game, they thought that the tactical problem would be maintaining possession, but it was actually using space to invade. So in their eyes, it seemed more like a possession game because of how the game was set up itself. But looking back now, I can understand why they felt that way, and I believe that if I had better structured my planning itself, it would have been more apparent that I was trying to shape the play into into invading space, so that they can receive the bounce pass itself. For the Q&A section, I think one of the biggest feedback that I got was firstly the flow of my Q&A itself. I felt that even personally, I felt that it was quite choppy at some times, and I tend to cut off people once I hear the answer that I need. So that's something I believe that I can further improve on. Another thing is the use of open-ended questions. I tend to rely on close-ended questions, such as like a yes or no answer kind of thing. So I need to learn how to better structure my questions into becoming open-ended, so that I get my athletes to further explain their views on the questions that I ask. And through this, I think I can better connect the different concepts into the main topic that I want to go into. So as I said before, overall I think it was a good performance from me personally, even after receiving the feedback. And I think with the implementations of the feedback, I can further improve myself into either very good or excellent performance itself. And I truly believe that I'm able to do that. So let me share the second question. The second question is, share honestly and clearly how well you understand and apply TGFU as of today, and what exactly you plan to do to prepare yourself for ESC in week 13. Honestly, I feel that I quite understand TGFU clearly, and by understanding it, I mean that I'm able to understand why there is the structure given, which is the game 1 Q&A practice, game 2, and I think I was able to utilize the different games properly at the appropriate time, and the Q&A was also geared towards shaping up the overall practice and game 2 for later on. So some things that I plan to do to prepare myself for ESC in week 13 is to definitely look into further improving my game 1 as of now, because I think for the past few weeks we've been focused mainly on game 1 and Q&A, and of course I would like to focus on Q&A itself, but as shared just now, I think one of the things that I can focus on for Q&A specifically is receiving the answers from the athletes itself. I can give out the template kind of questions, and once I receive the different kind of answers from the athlete, I think I should start practicing connecting their different views and opinions on stuff into the main topic that I want to get into. For game 1 specifically, I think one major thing that I learned today was not the introduction, but shaping play through the introduction of zonal play. So one thing that Dr. Coral talked about was in a game where there's a 3v2 or there's not an even matching, which is to be expected in the ESE, which I think I would train around 5 athletes. I could think of doing a zonal play where in a play area where it's separated by 3 different zones. As for example, in each zone there can only be 2 players from each team. So I think with that kind of implementation, I would not need the use of rolling subs or substitutions where one player would not be playing at one time. Then it will overall just not engage them effectively. So that's one major learning point that I think that I really wanted to implement for my future ESC in week 13 itself. And I think that it is also a good implementation because for today I was focused on the game of netball. And in netball itself, as you know, there are 3 different zones, and even the players in the first zone can't go into the third zone based on their positioning. So overall, I think today was very productive, and it is going to help me further improve and elevate my ESC planning and the way that I conduct the training session itself. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.